Error occurred. Let's try again. There we go. We are officially live. Welcome to the Medicare Machine Factory Top 1% podcast. And really, what I'm trying to put together is a movement and a resource for agents out there to go from the top 20% to the top 1%. And so I'm really excited with today's guest. We have the one, the only, I don't even need to introduce him. One, his name's underneath his head. And two, everybody already knows who he is, but the great and wonderful Tony Merwin. How you doing today, Tony?
Man, if I was doing any better, I'd fall down in fits. Thank you for having me on. It is an honor and a pleasure.
I'm really excited to have you on. We don't go way back yet, but we kind of do in a weird backwards way we were talking about.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a small insurance world, right? As they say.
Absolutely is, and just to speak to that, it's agents have to learn that, to understand that the further you get in this business, the smaller it gets. So your reputation is very important. Take good care of it. Because you will eventually, 10 years later, run full circle into a guy like Josh Young's. Turns out you met 10 years ago. So right. If one of us had rubbed each other the wrong way 10 years ago, and then we refresh that now, we're like, oh, the hell with this podcast. This is over.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to keep a good name for yourself. That's funny that you bring that up because I struggle with that at times because I'm not everybody's cup of tea is what I'm learning in the world. I thought I was awesome. I thought everybody should like me, but apparently I can be a little aggressive at times. And I can be a little boisterous or cocky or things like that. But yeah, no, I've learned to embrace me, and I think that's important. We're going to try to give a bunch of value today. The theme is obviously AEP. I know it's a different perspective, and so I want to go start with you, Tony, and then we'll kind of tell you our side of what, because in essence, for those that don't know who we are, which would be surprising on some level, but those who don't know who we are, Medicare Peace of Mind, in essence, was me up until about 18 months ago when I decided that I was a glutton for punishment again, and instead of living the life of just playing golf and like coasting on my production, which was a pretty good life, I decided that I was being selfish and I needed to give back because God put me in a position of very much high fortune. And so if I don't pass this information on to people, at least one person, help them learn what I've learned so that they can crush their life too, because in reality, on paper, I shouldn't be here. And there's a lot of other stories out there that I hear where you might think the same thing about yourself. And I want to empower as many agents as possible. But the perspective, think of us like a 16-foot Bass Pro Highline fishing boat. We're a high-performance fishing boat, but we're designed to carry 5 fishermen, right? And then Tony's driving the cruise liner that has, seats for 10,000 agents on it. And they're both gearing up for AEP, both ready to make a big wave in their own way. But I would bet that we have both similar yet different approaches and perspectives on how AEP breaks down. And I kind of want to chop that up for those that want to watch and give as much value, not just a podcast where it's like a grandstand to say, hi, how awesome is Tony and Orlando and Joshua? That's not what this is about. I think AEP.
They already know that.
Well, point case taken, right? And so tell me, or from your perspective, Tony, what do you think, and start with an individual agent and then an agency. What do you think is the most important thing as someone's preparing for AEP, and when's the critical time to start that process?
I would say you need to get started as soon as AHIP comes out. Like as soon as the day that AHIP drops, your AEP game is on, and that's when it starts. That's the real first day. And I'm very much I buy into Brian Tracy's philosophy of eat the frog, which means that as soon as AHIP comes out, let me get that out of the way as fast as I can. I see a lot of agents that delay it, and I get it. You're busy. You got things going on. No problem with that. But spend a Saturday, couple hours. If you're a super pro, it's not going to take you that long to get AHIP done anyway. But ultimately, you need to get that off your plate as fast as possible. Now I can focus on carrier certifications and, more importantly, carrier rollout meetings. So I can look in and attend and find out what products are coming to my area, what changes are coming to my area, footprint changes, plan changes, network changes, new products getting phased out, crosswalk, whatever's happening in your marketplace. If you can get all the cert, the transactional kind of just garbage stuff from that aspect out of the way. You can focus on really getting yourself prepared from a product and then marketing standpoint. Because as soon as you know what products are going to be hot in your area, you can start really gearing your marketing quicker. Like, oh, let's just, I have a new plan. Devote is new in Colorado, for example. That's something obviously that you're dealing with up there right now, Josh. So, for example, you find something like that out and you see, man, this product's really hot. Let me be one of the first guys to make a relationship with that rep, for example, right? Let me look for how can I be the first guy out there slinging. And I'm just using Devoted as an arbitrary thing. This is any product, period, right? If I can be the first one that grasps the change or the nuance that's new in that marketplace, you're going to get ahead of the curve that way, and you can gear your marketing toward making that be super special, right? But alternatively, I mean, that's kind of a 4-step process. Number 1, AHIP. Number 2, carrier search. 3, carrier products. 4, marketing money. Let's get it in play, get it ready to go. And I believe your marketing should be out the door by mid-August at the latest, as far as your initial AEP marketing. And then from there, you can add on as you need, depending on what type of marketing you're doing. Like, for example, direct mail, I just sent 8,000 pieces out on 8/15. Bloop, go. So that'll drum up some leads for our little agency at Avila, right, to help that one get going. And I'm doing the same thing with all of the agents that I service right now. I'm working with them. I got co-op dollars in. I'm like, yo, it's August. We got to get your marketing out the door if you're doing direct mail, right? And then any other things that we're looking at, we got to get that stuff in play too. We want to be first to the marketplace, right? The mouse that shows up late to the cheese trap or the mouse trap doesn't get the cheese. He gets this, or however that saying goes, you know what I mean? But the early bird gets the worm. So I'm not great with cliches and euphemisms.
Well, you did your best. I think everybody got the point. Yeah, I would agree. What I would add to that perspective on that part of it, especially with when to start. Like for me, each year as my book of business grows, I have to start earlier and earlier with the planning process because we got more and more people to get through. Automations has become a magical thing for me. It's been overwhelming for my assistant, Diana, who answers the phone the last like 3 or 4 days since I sent out my blasts. Have been a nightmare for her because it's basically you want to create a sense of urgency for your current book of business. And the reason is if you spend now on retention, you don't have to spend AEP on retention if you do it correctly. And so every year I do my retention now and leading up and the phone calls I have from October 1st to the 14th are all with my current book. And so that enables me to really, for the most part, really, really focus hardcore on the AEP for growth. And then for me, I like to use fishing as the analogy. He who uses the most lure and line catch the most fish, I think Confucius say. And so for me, I'm trying to get as many lines in the water right now. And it's also things that I've maintained throughout the year with clients that are really good referral partners, with other entities that are really good for referral partners. Now is the time to start sweetening them up. Don't wait until September or October to sweeten them up. Start sweetening them up now, introducing the concept now. Because again, my magic hack to the AEP is I have ways, I have skills, I have methods, I have procedures where my AEP schedule gets filled before all the way from October 15th to November 1st or later before I hit the 15th. And so when I hit the AEP, I've literally got, and when I say filled, it's not like 3 apps a day filled. I'm talking like 50 plus apps on the 15th. And then each day after that has 12 or 15 appointments because I'm stretching my schedule. I'm compressing things. There's a lot of things that I do that create a momentous occasion, which is when you get to October 15th and you have 50 plus appointments that day and you write 50 plus applications, it really goes a long way psychologically to creating a path to whatever goal you have. Because a lot of times their goal for the AEP might be 50 or might be 100. And if that's you, that's great. But if that's the case, then your first day goal shouldn't be 50, it should be 10. Because if you can get to 10 on that first day, the psychological effect it has on you, 50 all of a sudden doesn't seem that far away. And it really motivates you. And because AEP is fun for the first 2.5 weeks, then it sucks for about 4 weeks, and then Thanksgiving hits and you take a day off. And then it really sucks because the procrastinators, frankly, are the bigger group of people, and they come in and you write. I think so. Way I broke up my goal last year, I have it still written on my board. I have to change it for this year. So I had 700 for the total goal. And so I was going to do 75 in September, 150 in October, 400 in November, and then another 150 in December. In essence, that first week of December. And so when you're able to break things down like that, then you can just focus on the smaller goal and attack that. And again, if you're able to stack your deck before you get to AEP, AKA start doing something now other than just sitting around going, what am I going to do for AEP? Like take some action, get out there, talk to some people, talk to your clients. Like I said, there's a lot of things that you can learn to do without me giving away all the sauce for free right now in this 1 hour thing. But this is leading up to, I am going to be dropping the whole thing, the whole blueprint. I'm not going to hold back anything. I'm really only charging people because over the last year I've done a lot of free stuff, and the people that do attend, I could see a lot of like turning my camera off, and I see a lot of like pulling my phone up or answering the call or other crap. And so what I've learned is when you have to pay, you have to pay attention a little bit more. You have a little bit of skin in the game, and so
absolutely
these things. And it also helps my team because in essence, what I'm doing is I'm giving everyone the access to basically the same kind of trainings my team gets, but they get access to come in and to my trainings from an outsider perspective. I don't care what upline you are. I don't care where you want to put all that. They say, I just want to help people. If you did 50 last year, I believe you can do 100. If you did 100 last year, I think you could do 300. If you did 300 last year, I think you could do 500. And then once you get to 500 plus, you're going to add like 10% after that, 20% after that. So I went from 447 to 550 or 443 to 557. That was a big stretch. It doesn't seem like it's a huge stretch. Actually, it's a bigger stretch than going from 0 to 100, in my opinion. And so you might not have those desires. And so if we're talking to you right now, and you're like, that doesn't even sound real or possible. And a lot of people look at me like that, like I'm crazy or I'm a liar. But I can tell you from two different uplines, you don't end up in the top 1, 2, 3 nationally under a big FMO upline with 1,500 plus agents unless you got stuff dialed in. And so I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying if you really wanted to see numbers, I could show numbers, but numbers aren't important to me. My numbers aren't important to you. Your numbers are, right? And so from a small ship perspective, for me, this is the scariest time of year for me because my revenue is at the lowest because applications that are not full true ups are prorated. So as we get into this back quarter of the year, really the revenue goes on if you're only focused on Medicare. And so this time of year, I kind of switch perspective and go after the bigger stuff, the life insurance, the annuity stuff, and circling back around as I'm churning up bait and dust for the AEP. I'm trying to churn up some revenue, right? Because revenue going into AEP is critical for 3 reasons. 1, you need to market in AEP. 2, I think everyone still has bills during AEP. If anyone's figured out how to get their bills paused during AEP, let me know.
I think mine go up because you have all the holidays.
Right,
Christmas, I got to buy all this crap for people too while I'm, working.
And for all those pre-COVID folks like me that still go face-to-face and drive everywhere, the gas prices do put a pressure on certain things. And so there's a lot of things you want to do. I would say there's probably about 37 different things is what I've narrowed it down to that you want to do before AEP, starting with AHIP and ending with October 14th at midnight. What's your plan? Like you're waking up in 1 hour or 2 hours? You're waking up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. How are you doing that? Because last year, in order to do 68 applications on day 1, I was up at 2 a.m. with appointments set at 2 a.m. And so you've got to find those people in the world because there are people out there, believe it or not, that stay up all night. And you can fill a calendar from 2 a.m. to 9 p.m. if you so choose. Just know going into it, the 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. and the 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. are the hardest slots to fill. So I recommend filling those first. And when you do that, again, the psychological effect, and use guilt as your friend. So when you're talking to a potential client or your client, and you're saying, I want to get you on my calendar. You're like, look, are you by chance, don't tell them why, be a good detective and say, are you more of a morning person or an afternoon person? And you say, well, I'm a morning person. You say, well, how much of a morning person are you? And I use myself as an example. When I was 3, my dad had finally had enough because no matter what happens, no matter what time I go to bed, where I am, what country I'm in, wherever, what time zone, no matter what time, I wake up whenever the sun comes up. If I haven't woke up already, automatically. And so a rule was made in my house when I was young that I couldn't wake anyone else up till the sun came up, right? And so I use that to my advantage. I say, "Are you an early bird like me?" And I say, "Are you a really early bird like me?" And then I say, "Would you do me a favor?" Look, I say, "Look, this time of year is only 53 days. I have to help my 2,000 clients, plus I have to try to help 800 more. That's my goal." And I try to tell them, "Look, the hardest ones for me to fill, believe it or not, ha ha ha, or 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5, or whatever those slots are." And then you fill those first, and then all of a sudden, like I said, when you fill the first one, the wave of momentum that comes from that first step and having the first appointment, the first known app. I'm going to have one app now. That psychological effect, I can't describe it. But yeah, for me, this time of year, there's no revenue, there's no money, and so you feel like you're a beggar on some respects. Like, I've got my hungry team, I can't feed them. Does anybody have any AEP money? And you go around to the carrier reps and you do all these things, and you ask them to take you to lunch. Don't take them to lunch. Let's be smart about it. And you develop those relationships. You do some other things like that. And if you can do that, what I find is you'll get this wave of people behind you. If you spread this message enough that you have this massive goal. That's why I like to have this massive goal. I was like, what do you mean 800 people? Because believe it or not, if you tell a client that, they're just as surprised if I told an insurance agent that. Like you're kidding, right? There's no way, it's not possible. And that's always the kind of stuff I like to hear. So Orlando, you have a different perspective. In essence, up until this year, your perspective has come from the carrier side. So I'd love to hear your perspective of what the average agent does during AEP, and then what the results come from on the back end, what a good agent, an average agent does in AEP, and what the results come from that, and then what a superstar agent does. And in essence, if you can quantify from your perspective, what do you think is the difference between those three?
Well, I'm going to say is the work ethic. I mean, I don't know anybody else who's waking up at 2:00 in the morning or having their first appointment at 2:00 in the morning. So that's superstar level. Like Mark Lynn was talking. That's next level right there. So
Yeah.
call out.
I'm wondering how sober the person that shows up for your 2 a.m. appointment is.
That was a phone appointment. Thank you, COVID, for the electronic application.
that's right after the bar is closed, right? So
yeah, a lot of electronic signatures on the 15th for me.
But yeah, let's talk about different types of brokers out there. I dealt with all sorts. We have the brokers who they only sell during AEP, and their goal is to hit maybe 20 to 50 during AEP. So that, those, I guess I would call those brokers more of they're not in the game of Medicare. They like to build a little something. They're building up some revenue. They're building their book of business, creating some kind of retirement program, but they're doing it in increments of AEP. So and good luck to them. No problem with that. I like it when they sell. I like it when anybody sells anything, right? That's the goal. When I was a carrier rep, that's the goal. Sell my product. Sell me anything. Sell 1, sell 2, 10, 20. I don't care what you sell, but sell it. And so that's that was my mindset. So you had those who were selling, that handful, that 20. So they're working part-time. They're with Medicare. Then you have your career agents. And I say career agents, meaning full-time brokers. They understand that this is their bread and butter. They're going in with the idea of getting 100 to 200. And their schedules are much longer. They're starting their day at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning with appointments and extending it to 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Now, again, it's still not 5 o'clock. It's still not 4 o'clock in the morning, but those agents are probably, I want to say, the most successful ones those are the top ones. Those are the top ones that they're starting their day at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and they have their first appointment at 8 o'clock. They're out the door. They have their coffee. They are making their first sale at 8 o'clock. They also, a lot of these career agents, if you will, they're also looking at AEP, and this is my mindset as well. You start looking at AEP on April 1st. Okay, why do you want to look at AEP from April 1st? Is because you want to start collecting all those names that you couldn't help throughout the year. You have that list. We call it the AEP list, right? You have that list, and they're working and they're hammering. They're making sure all throughout the year they're in contact with those clients.
All right, time out.
Yeah.
This is a free webinar. Tony, shut it down. We got to start charging. We're giving way too much value away right now.
I completely forgot about starting April 1st, but that makes sense. It's just there's been so many damn SEPs the last couple of years where you can just wild west sell anybody anytime you want.
SEPs for days, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This year, my best month so far has been June, which I've never had a June that just crushed it before.
Last year, June was for us. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I attribute that to Holden though, because I put myself in a push-up contest, and I don't like push-ups, so that's a motivator for me to do as many applications as possible.
And
you're trying to lose weight too, though, aren't you? Did you mention that recently?
Yeah. No, I am losing weight on accident. My wife's very frustrated.
Push-ups might help.
I'm not following the program at all, other than she's going through the pain in the butt process of making my own special. So I have my own special dinner every night, which is a different salad. So tonight I get a Big Mac salad, which I'm really excited about. It sounds really awesome to me, actually.
Does sound pretty good.
And it's still healthy somehow. And so, but yeah, I've dropped 10 pounds on accident. I want to drop another 20 so that I can beat Cody at basketball. That's one of my ultimate life goals is I'm going to beat him one-on-one when his toe's not hurting or something. He can't have no excuses out this time. But yeah, so back to AEP. So yeah, and then I cut you off before you got to the ultimate category because you were too busy dropping too many bombs. So carry on as you will, but let's talk about maybe the next tier, and maybe is there a tier above that?
So the next tier would be those clients who have figured out where their niche is, their niche. Well, niche, whatever it's called.
Frederick, whatever.
Yeah,
it's French. Who cares?
They figured out where they can get the most sales. They work their retail fantastically. They know how to drive business to them. So not only are they getting up early and staying out late, but they also have those places. It's at a primary care physician office. It's at a low income facility, apartment facility. It's at a retail facility. I recall seeing some guys usually that works really well in rural areas, but they have their retail and everybody's coming. They're lining up throughout the door. It didn't really happen very well in the metro areas, but again, you got to find where your niche is, your niche is. I'm going to go with niche. You got to find where that is. So that was the next level. Those guys, they're dropping 200 to 400 apps during AEP.
And gals. And there's a lot of killer ladies out there now too.
Yeah,
there is. And
then there's Josh's. There's that guy. And I don't know anybody else. I don't know anybody else
doing one dude up there that's just out of his mind.
I love AEP. Here's what I'll tell you, because it ties right into that. Here's why I do more apps than most people. It's because I don't have one niche. I have like 4 or 5 niches that I'm really good at. And I can go to it anytime, and I can restart the fire anytime. I literally have a gas pedal that I can control, which makes it almost impossible to hold it. I basically have to let him win because I have an untold number of resources that I could just start pushing on the gas pedal on, give a little bit of effort, and they'll instantly the return will start coming.
That's truth. So behind the scenes, that's truth.
But I had to earn those things. None of these things were given to me. I had to earn and grind from the very beginning. And what I will tell anyone out there watching, if you're wondering how do I get any of this stuff they're talking about, how do we get co-ops, how do we get money, marketing dollars for AEP, how do we get all this stuff? Produce. The production rules everything. You wouldn't have to do anything other than produce, and you'll get everything you need and want within reason. You can't expect people to take money out of their kids' pockets to give to you, but you should get your fair share of the pie. And you can do that by first making sure everybody else gets more than their fair share of your pie first. The first couple of years, you're going to be on a street level contract or less, maybe even a GA if you're lucky, and you're going to have to grind through. And you're not the one. Basically, you have to understand at that point, your uplines are making as much money as you on every sale almost. And so there's a lot of incentive for you to be successful. And it's important. I know it's give or take. I'm talking about like renewals, not on 265.
Cool.
But the concept is the volume game that's on both sides. If you feed them for a while and you do it correctly and you have a good attitude and you say yes to everything, even the bad opportunities, and you say yes and yes to all the carriers and all these things, all those things will start snowballing. And what I've learned is when you say yes to all the bad opportunities, and I'm not saying bad opportunities in that there's no value there, because even things like what I would look at is like my least fun thing to do is a call blitz from United Healthcare. However, I say yes every damn time, and every damn time I've gotten clients out of it. And in fact, my most wealthy client who makes like $15 million a year in retirement, I got from a damn call blitz, a dual special needs call blitz. Okay. And so just understand that when you're mining for gold, sometimes it might not, you might think there's nothing but mud here, but there just might be the biggest gold bar or nugget or rock that you've ever seen hiding in there. And the key, like I said, when I use that fishing analogy, I'm serious. Everything I can think of. And when I run out of those things, like there's three main ones that you'll get if you come to my boot camps, or if you talk to someone who went to my boot camps into telling you. But there's three main streams of in essence, referral partners outside of clients that I go to as honey holes that nobody else does correctly, that even if they are thinking they're doing it, I can go in and steal it from people because of the level of knowledge that I have on the game within the game that I'm going into. So I used to be a dental office manager before I was in Medicare. So guess what's really easy for me to do? I can go into a dental office and talk dental speak all day long. In fact, I still have like most of the dental codes memorized. And so I say, so you're building that out with a 4990 or is that a 1110? And so if you don't know, 1110 is the prophylaxis code for cleaning. And so, but again, having that level of knowledge is it's a different level of game when you walk in, and I give them a different level of comfort. And part of that is the branding. Again, when you walk in fully branded somewhere, it's a different level of trust that comes than if you just walk in off the street like some crazy person. Think about it.
Yeah.
No one likes to be door knocked as it is, whether it's work or at home or wherever. So if you're going to do it, you might as well show a professional presence. And part of that is have the look. The other part of that is how you talk. Talk with confidence. Talk quickly. Say, I know I'm not going to waste your time. Again, I always every front desk gatekeeper I go to, the first thing I say to them is, I know you're overworked and underpaid. However, I think I can help you. And you start with that, and they're like, I'm listening. And then you start asking them questions about them. Okay? Don't make it about you for the first visit. The first visit is, how many patients do you guys have? Are you looking to add ones? If you're not adding them, why not? Do you have favorite insurance companies? Are there certain insurance companies that give you claim problems or ones that don't? Or do you have someone you can go to answer those questions and fix those problems? And I'm not a claims expert, but I know the people that are. And I have this cool special hot list that I get by being one of the top agents in the state, in the country. I get these cool hot lists where I know exactly who to call and when to fix problems. So I know where the answer is.
Yeah, I love all
right?
of that.
So
where I come from, a 1110 is a disorderly conduct, though.
Yeah. You don't want 187 or any of the other crap that goes along that. And frankly, you really, in dental codes, you don't want to deal with anything above 11110, because everything above that is root canals and crowns and bridges and all kinds of crap that you don't even want to get into. In the 700s, you're in the really expensive category, in the 7,000 category. And so, but the point is, when you get in like AEP right now, go find one doctor's office, one dentist, one something that takes the dental plan or the coverage that you want to work most with. Again, when you're setting your AEP goal, don't just say, I want to do 800 apps and go, okay, well, that's it. Like, not only break it down to how many per month, but now you got to figure out which carriers are strong where are the weaknesses, where are the expansions happening, where can I attack? And if you're single or you're have an open relationship, damn it, drop ship yourself somewhere else in another state that has an expansion. Go live there for 3 months, write a shit ton of business, and go home. Then you have established and you have a reason to have your license in 22 states rather than just saying I have licenses. Why don't you have some clients in addition to that? And if you're not working the phone like me, that's the way to do it. So
It's a great excuse to go on vacation, if anything.
Well, yeah, you can go on vacation and write a bunch of applications. But don't go on vacation. Go on vacation in January when you get your $200,000 for writing 500 applications. Until then, between now and then, you should be eat, sleep, drink. How do I get ready for this damn game? Because it's a sprint marathon that you got to be physically, psychologically, mentally, financially. You've got to have like 5 or 6 variables in line, ready to just go, or you're going to sputter and you're going to go, AEP sucks. And you're going to be in that bottom category, 20, 50. I think I heard one time the national average is like 40 apps or something. Which
it's lower than that per agent. It's way lower than that.
Was like 5, yes. 10, what?
It's 4
like per AEP
per agent.
Oh, per agent. Come on.
Correct.
Come on, y'all.
That's 100% true. There are a lot of agents that unfortunately just don't write anything for whatever reason. Right? There's a plethora of reasons they don't even write one. Well, go back to something Orlando said. There are guys out there that they don't do Medicare for a living. Right? Maybe they're tax guys, maybe they're P&C guys, maybe whatever. And they're like, oh, well, let me go ahead and pick up these contracts. I got a few folks I'm going to write. And they end up just writing 2 people because they're not really marketing it. And they got busy doing their other gig. Happens all the time, dude. I Orlando, I work with all the time. Numerous of those agents, right? They've got something else that's keeping their attention, but they'll pick up a couple. So they really bring down that average, right? You're holding it up. Like it might be 5 next year just because of you. Like you're pushing the curve that hard, but all those non-producers are getting credit for 5 apps now.
Out there, here's the challenge I'll issue between Tyler, Tingu, and I, because Tyler's the closest thing I've gotten to creating me. I've known him since we were 4. We're 6 days apart on birthday. We're pretty close. He did 300 last AEP, so I'm going to force him to do 450 this year. So between the two of us, we should do 1,200. What other dynamic duo out there is going to beat us? I challenge you now, here and now.
Off the top of mine, I don't know any.
Let's go. And I want field agents. Don't bring me your damn call center shit. Okay? Actually, you know what?
That's definitely not fair.
Fine. I'll take that back. I'll even take on a call center agent. Fine. Because I love the competition. And even if
it's throwing the gauntlet down. I mean, if somebody takes your bet, you have to put some money on the rail.
We'll have to do some kind of fun contest at that point. But
I was going to say, I really like what you said in regards to when you approach the dentist office, right? When you talk to that gatekeeper, right? You're working to be, and this is something that goes with networking in general when you're meeting people and extending. You want to practice being interested, not interesting, right? So like you were saying, you're showing interest in what they're doing. Like, hey, look, I know you're underpaid, overworked. I think I can help you. Right. And you're not just talking about, hey, this is what I do. This is what I do. This is what I do. This is like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're going through. Right. And you're asking questions about their business. Are you doing it this way? Are you doing it that way? Mm-hmm. And you're finding out all the information so that you can find, oh, this is where I can now insert value for me. Here we go. And now I'm finding and filling resolutions for these folks. So that's a great key. Like learn when you're talking to those administrators, those gatekeepers, when you're looking for providers. Again, learn to be interested in what they're doing, not try to appear interesting, and then just lead with value. So that's beautiful.
Yeah. Or even go in with that question. Hey, what carrier is the best carrier that pays claims? And then ask them what carrier is the worst. I want to help you with those. I want to help you with those clients. Well, how can I help you? Let me find the right. Let me find the right representative. I have contacts on the carrier side to help you. I tell you what, when I was that carrier rep, that's what I did. My job was to work hard for all the brokers out there and to get those claims paid if there was issues. So that's what I would do. Go to those primary care physicians and ask them those 2 questions. Who's your number one and who's your worst?
Everyone get your pen out because I'm going to give you the best tip there is to go into a dentist office. So the one question you want to ask is after you get through the initial stuff, when you're going for the close and you're going for the hook, you're setting the hook. This is the set the hook question. So the set the hook question is, do you ever have clients that are unable to complete their treatment plan because they run out of benefits? And they're going to say, hell yeah, that happens all the time. Or they might say, yeah, in fact, sometimes we try to prioritize what's on the list so we can get whatever we need in, what's most urgent. How you need 15 teeth fixed. Now we have to prioritize who gets fixed first. Women and children teeth first, and then the men teeth get fixed second, right? I mean, so if you go in with that question and you use that as your hook question, I guarantee you at that point you can say, well, look, I can really help you. This is who you're looking for. People with Medicare and Medicaid. There are special needs plans, and you want to do don't go to every dentist office in your town. You're going to waste your time on like 80% of them, because 80% of them don't take the plans that you're offering. So you got to reverse engineer it, and you go to the directory for whatever plan you're trying to rep, United Healthcare, Humana, WellCare, whoever. Go to their dual network, look at the dentists, and have the benefits in your mind for all three. This one gives 3,000, this one gives 4,000, this one gives 2, whatever those numbers are. Have those at the ready, and then you're ready, aim, firing with that information. So you're setting the tone with, I already did the research for you. I already know you're in network. And it's basically the reason I always say research before you either work a lead or go into a facility or do anything else is you can go in and know exactly what questions to ask in what order. And even like if you get to my level of the stalking that I do on every client, every lead, everything, like I'll literally Facebook stalk them. And if I see they like gardening, because I see they have an awesome garden on their Google Maps picture, I drop myself in their street and I look at their house and they have an awesome garden out front, then I'm going to intersect in that first conversation. I'm going to drop in, I can't wait to get home to water my garden. I'm not going to talk about their garden. I'm going to talk about my garden. And that's going to trigger them. They're going to light up and they're going to talk about gardens. I promise. Unless they're not the ones doing the gardening at home. But for me, husband, wife, good garden, I'll take a 50-50 shot that who I'm talking to is the gardener. And if they're not, oh, my husband does the gardening. Oh, then I really respect the level of work that he does. Because gardening's tough. And you want to relate to him on that level. And then that gets you in the door. You hit them off with the question, how many treatment plans go unfinished? And then you've hit them off with, did you know people that have Medicare and Medicaid, you can have them call me and I can help them for no cost, no obligation, no pressure. And then I can put them on a plan that they can recontinue that treatment plan with additional $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 of dental with no out of pocket to them and cash money to your office. Or is that something you guys would be interested in learning more about? And they're going to say, yes. And then you're going to say, my guess is from time to time, a pharmaceutical rep or two is going to come by here and ask to do a lunch and learn. And you're going to say, yeah. Okay, they're going to say, yeah, they do. Okay, I want to do one of those, but I'm actually going to bring real value, and I'm not going to turn you into a drug prostitute. And they'll laugh at that. And then you move on to setting the appointment for your lunch and learn. And don't worry, you don't have to buy them lunch. And make sure you tell them, we're going to do this via Zoom. I figured I'd just do it over the lunch hour. That way all of you can bring your lunch in and have it in the cafeteria room or whatever, and we can just do a quick Zoom, and I'll go over the information. Don't feel pressure to pay money. Same thing with financial advisors. Don't pay money as a referral fee. That's stupid. Why are you giving money out of your pocket for no reason? You're still going to provide value for them, so don't give away your money. But I don't know, Tony. I think we could have charged for today's podcast.
Definitely, there was some good stuff in there we could have done. In regards to financial planners, though, you're 100% right. Most of those financial planners from the agents that I've talked to that have really good relationship with financial planners that are referring to Medicare business, most of them don't even want money. They just want to know for a fact that their client who loves and trusts them is being passed to someone who will love and take care of that client in the same fashion, right? They just want to know, that, hey, am I putting my client in good hands?
Mm-hmm.
Where you'll take care of them and not some jerk off call center rep that's going to screw them over, and then they're going to come crying to me to try to fix that. Like, are you going to take good care of them? Right?
Or some part-time accountant agent.
Correct. Correct. The key when you're looking for those strategic partnerships, you just have to think of who is talking to the same ideal client as I am, but from a different angle and non-conflicting interest. And if you can identify those professionals out there that are talking to that same client for any reason, then you want to go build a partnership with those in any capacity you can.
And I would narrow that list down to which ones can I add value back to.
Correct.
And do those ones. Because I was working with an agent yesterday, and on her list, because I have all my agents make the list of where we're going that day to go door knocking. And she had 4 or 5 real estate agents on there. I said, well, in essence, if you look at it from their perspective, you're just coming up begging for leads because you don't really have anything of value to offer back. Because how often are your clients moving or selling a house? And when are you ever going to have enough volume of that happening where it makes sense for them to have a referral partnership with you? So it's good to make them aware of you, but I wouldn't shoot for a referral partnership with a real estate agent. Because I mean, even the real estate agent we've used are personally to buy 2 houses and other things. I haven't gotten one referral from that relationship, and I've used the real estate agent. And so again, I would stick to things that have a symbiotic relationship aspect to them, and focus on. I guess I would find one and get good at one, and then when you get good at one category, what I mean by getting good at one category is you have 2 or 3 locations that are actively sending you people. Then you have a productive crop there. But just planting seeds in a garden does not produce a crop. You've got to water it. You've got to weed it. You've got to maintain it. You've got to pay attention to it. You got to make sure it gets the right sunlight. Keep the birds off it, the bugs and all that. That'd be the call center agents, right? But yeah, no, Tony, tell me about what you guys do on a retention basis for your agents, that you might think is unique versus what's out there.
As far as retaining client retention, right?
Yeah.
Mostly just coaching them. I mean, other than the tools that we can provide agents, we can certainly give them all the coaching in the world. When it comes to, I like your idea of doing it early. And you had mentioned the 1st through the 14th, I swear. But then it sounded like you were starting AEP retention right now.
Well,
so I was a little confused on that.
What I'm doing is I'm sending out postcards. I'm sending out email blasts. I'm sending out text blasts with the intention of getting everybody to call the office. In my office, we do automatic quarterly calls to every client anyway, which basically takes the whole damn quarter at this point. But we call everybody every quarter, and we're cycling through them all. And this quarter, it's everybody's like almost on some level, like, quit calling us, we're fine. But we want to weed through the people who are like, I don't want to change, because I want to have those in one category. And then I want to have another category of I want to look at something, or this year, because of some of the benefits, I can't go over them on a public broadcast. With some of the rollouts I've been going to, with some of the benefits coming potentially next year, I need to get in touch with a lot of my clients with certain health backgrounds and certain things going on, so I can help make sure that they get the right fit for them year after year. And that's part of the retention is if there is going to be a change of plan, I want to be the fella that does it.
Absolutely.
So I want to identify that quickly, because when those happen, you can shove those in much easier into your calendar. You can also convert those to phone calls easier, Zoom calls easier, and you're able to really compress a lot of applications into a short amount of time. Because again, moving one person from Humana to United Healthcare is awesome because you don't lose them, but it's not like a growth number. And the carriers don't look at that kind of thing as growth. They're looking for like new members, and you should be too. And so that's where, so now I want to have my staff, my office, my automations have touch points with my clients several times between now and the end of September to, 1, make them aware that AEP is coming. 2, my schedule fills up really fast. So if you don't want 5 a.m. or 9 p.m., you better call now. So I create a sense of urgency. And 3, I want to create a sense of urgency so that once I know they're on the calendar, then we can circle back around and go for some referrals.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I usually advocate pretty much same thing, right? Dates might be a little different, but I usually advocate make sure that your client gets at least one message from you by text, by email, and by physical snail mail. Right. So that's what we do. We send out basically an ANOC letter to all of our entire database in September that, hey, AEP is coming. Right. And I usually I recommend supplanting the language. And then unless you know that there's already stuff coming to your area that you definitely want to get a plan review on everybody. I'm similar to your fashion where I want to automate as much of the current book as possible to keep the appointments quick, because you shouldn't need a lot of time with them. You already got all their information. I'm assuming you're paying attention to your clients and you have a customer relationship management tool, which you should have. Right. So you should have all of their info. Unless they've made changes to their prescriptions or their doctors, you should have all that. So when it comes to the new app, it should be lickety split, right? Bing, bang, pow. Because there's not a lot of education. It's just like, hey, this is the new plan that's going to take your doctors, your network, your drugs, whatever. Boom, got it, go. So we send out an ANOC letter that supplants the language that says, hey, and AEP's coming up. This is the time of year you can change your Medicare Advantage plan or drug plan. In most situations, a change is not necessary. But if you've experienced a change in your doctors, your prescriptions, or your health conditions, we highly recommend a free plan review. If it's the text or the email, we put the calendar link on there, bink, for an AEP calendar that's already set between October 1st and December 7th. So they can click and go ahead and schedule their appointment. And then when we remind them of that on the 15th, I also include our Sunfire link. So like, hey, if you go ahead and look at plans now, if you want to shop some stuff, don't even wait for us. So, and then we focus on new leads and new business, right? And then all of our AEP client retention work comes during OEP the next year, right? Everybody that we wrote that's brand new during AEP, you're going to call them 30, 60, 90 days, 3 times, January, February, March, to make sure that you lock that business down that you wrote during AEP. So I love your approach, and ours is real similar, right? You take care of your current book, you do early retention, your new book.
I agree. I would add, Tony, what I've learned on the calendar link thing, that works really well if you're newer to the business. If you're a more veteran agent, I would not recommend using a calendar link unless you really, and here's why. What I learned was 2 years ago when I did 375, or 3 years ago, whatever the hell it was, that year, one of the struggles I had and why I couldn't do more was I used Calendly that year, but then I would have somebody in Pueblo, Colorado schedule at 8 a.m. and then somebody would schedule like 9 a.m. in Fort Collins, which are like 4-hour drive apart in Colorado.
Oh,
like
see, we're all doing it by phone. So I didn't think about that. Right. We're all by phone, so it's no big deal for us. But yeah, so field agent, that doesn't work.
Right. And so just if you're a field agent, just know I don't recommend using the Calendly link unless you're doing like 1 week at a time and you really take the time up front to make sure your calendars are syncing so it doesn't double book you. Because I've had issues with all that stuff. And then, like I said, so if you're trying to go 1,000 miles in one day to see 5 clients, you're much better off. Like now, my assistant, as soon as someone picks a day, say someone in Fort Collins picks the 15th of October. Well, now the 15th of October is a Northern Colorado day, and all the appointments, like anybody from now on that calls in for an appointment and they're in that area, hey, how about the 15th? And we fill that day where I'm in the same area all day now, which is part of the reason why I'm able to knock out 15 apps a day. Those that doubt me, it's possible. If you do, but you have to learn some of this stuff over time that I've learned the hard way, which I'm going to package into the freaking boot camp tomorrow. I don't know why there's not more people. I should have to upgrade my Zoom account as far as I'm concerned. There's only like 40 people registered right now, and there's like 4 million agents in the country. What do you guys all have this figured out? You're going to do this perfectly? I guarantee you've learned more about AEP on this 45 minutes, 50 minutes you've been on this than you had before. And what I'm telling you is this is just the tip of the iceberg. For tomorrow, it's going to be 3 hours of this with me where I'm detailed, I'm dialed in, I have things, I'm going to give everything to you. I'm going to force you into creating goals. There's a lot of things I'm going to put you through that's going to make you where you have the plans to become a Medicare machine for AEP, an AEP machine. However, not all computers can handle all software programs, and so you might not have the capacity yet. Boom, and it might blow your computer up. So I apologize.
Need more RAM.
Yeah. No, and we'll definitely drop the link in after this in the recording of this, and it's mmfactory.pro/bootcamps is where you can get your seat. You have until midnight. In essence, I don't want to deal with all the BS of making sure everybody has a login link and all that crap tomorrow at 3 a.m. or whatever. So if you can't register by midnight tonight, you're going to have fear of missing out. And tomorrow will be taped. So if you do get a ticket and you can't watch it live, you will get access to the recording for free. Those that did register for the in-person version in Denver on Saturday, it's from 9 to 3. And that one is going to have all the stuff the virtual one has, plus some more hands-on work with me and a 1-hour session with me after the fact where I'll help you create your own AEP blueprint plan and help you maximize your opportunity. And so I really want to have the biggest impact that I can on as many agents as possible. And so I really encourage you. This is worth it. I'm not trying to be the person that sells something they don't know how to do. If there is anything, and I thought, what's the first coaching thing I could do to help agents where I'm not doing it for free, so they actually pay attention. The people that want to know show up. What is it going to be? And I was like, why wouldn't it be AEP? I know other agents out there that do more applications than me per year, but I don't know very many that do more in AEP, at least face-to-face, with the type of model that I run, where I'm not, here's the other magic to me. I don't do one lead drop for myself for AEP. So I don't work leads in AEP unless I have to. And so if you want the secret sauce, please go there, join. We have 10 minutes left. I want to finish strong with some cool content. And so the one thing that I find the most common mistake of the average agent, if you will, is rather than overfill the cup, they try to get another cup. What I mean by that is, if you're out in the field and someone calls you and says, I want help today, and you say, I'm already booked today, how about tomorrow, or how about whatever, and you're in essence reeling the fish up to the boat, you're letting the fish off the hook, and you're putting it back in the water to go catch it later, that's not a smart way to do it. For me, what I do is I fill it in. Okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes, and then I have my assistant, or before I had my assistant, I would do it myself. I'd notify everybody else the rest of the day. I'm running about a half hour late so far. I'm going to do my best to catch up some time in the next couple of appointments, but I'll just let you know when I'm on my way. And as long as you have that communication step, I've been 7 hours late before, and they still let me come in and do the application in the dark. Okay. And so as long as you approach things like a normal human and you treat people like you want to be treated, like they're your family, that's one of my hacks that I give people, because there's so many people I hear that go, oh, yeah, I'm booked today, making it, they almost sound like you want to sound more important than you are when you do that. Oh, my calendar is way too full to handle that right now. No, bullshit. Your calendar is empty tomorrow because you keep doing that and you keep pushing stuff to tomorrow. Why not do one extra app today? Because then you're one app ahead of the game. And I do that all the time. And on the weekends in AEP, while all of y'all are watching football or playing with family or whatever the hell you do in AEP on weekends, I don't know what most agents do, I'm out there writing another 15 to 17 applications a day. So you think you're catching up to me the next week because you wrote 20 in a day, but I wrote 34 or 50 over the weekend. And if you do that every weekend, there's 6 weekends. So if I'm writing 30 more applications a weekend for you for 6 weekends, no matter what you do to catch up, it's impossible. So here's what I'll tell you. If you want to beat me, you're going to have to work at least 18 hours a day. You're going to have to work every day from the October 1st through December 7th, except for Thanksgiving. And you better write an application on Thanksgiving, because I do it every year. It's a tradition of mine. I have turkey and I have an app. Okay. And so
wait, for one of the people that you're having turkey with, like, are you writing the people in the room?
If it has to be. So that's my tip. I want to go around the horn. Tony, what is actually, no, let's go Orlando first. I want to finish strong with the Merwinator. He's a really good closer of these kind of events. Orlando, what is your top tip for the average agent to add 10 more applications to their AEP? Let's not get greedy. Let's just add 10. How do we add 10 applications to our AEP?
Just add 10. Be willing to do everything. Don't just do that one thing, but be willing to do everything. Get out there, get into the community, get your AEP list out, do everything. Start with your schedule. Get your goals down, get your schedule done, and get out there and do everything. That's my tip.
Okay.
Tony, you're up.
Mr. Tony, I'm going to ask a similar but a little bit different question. What's your number one tip
already
for an agency, not an agent, but an agency? What's your number one tip for an agency if they're going in, maybe it's their first or second AEP leading a team, and they're really nervous about making sure their team has enough leads and activity and all that, and what to do? What's your top tips so that they can make sure all of their agents write at least 5 more applications each?
If that's really all it is, and truthfully, it's going to be the same answer I would have said on the first one, and that's cross market. So teach your agents how to sell a secondary product, right? That's going to be the easiest way. I mean, you can certainly do everything you guys said, work harder. I mean, all I got to do is work 2 weekends and I'm going to get my 5 apps. If that's all I need, that's a cakewalk, right? But if I'm really wanting to crank it out and add more commissions, more productivity, just sell secondary products with every single client that you can. Bundle it, right? There's a reason that hospital indemnity is sold with Medicare Advantage, right? It fills the gaps. So that would be my immediate thing, is like learn how to sell a secondary product. If you're super savvy and if you got a virtual assistant that has some chops, just go out there and write your MA apps. Let your virtual assistant come behind you and drum up final expense leads, cancer insurance leads, whatever it is.
Come on.
If you don't know how to sell cancer insurance with the Medicare Advantage policy, it's one simple statement. Hey, Miss Jones, whatever you do, don't cancel your cancer policy. Huh? Right? So when you go into that summary of benefits, if you show them the Part B drugs, the Part B chemo, the radiation, with just about every single plan out there, it's a 20% hit, right? 20% coinsurance. That's one of the biggest gaps in all of Medicare Advantage plans. You can plug in cancer products there, piece of cake. My wife does it all the time. It's what I coach. Galen Hendricks talks about it. I mean, there's a ton of people out there talking about selling cancer with MAPD, and that's the button. When you go into that summary benefits and you get right there, go, hey, see this right here? This is your 20%. This is your biggest gap, Miss Jones. So whatever you do, don't cancel your cancer policy.
Well,
I don't have a cancer policy. Oh, okay, understood. Miss Betty didn't have it down the street either. No problem. Give me a second. Let's finish this. I'll circle back.
Well,
and the other write her an Aetna lump sum product.
The other point of pain too is the pharmaceuticals that go with cancer treatment are all tier 4
Absolutely.
or 5. And so now you have a huge out of pocket. You probably hit the coverage gap. So having an extra 10, 20, like I said, for me, someone that's on a med sup, 10,000 is what I do for cancer. This the benefit amount. And if someone has a Medicare Advantage plan, if they can afford it, I do 15 or 20, because then it allows to cover the max out of pocket. It allows to cover some extra cushion on the drug side. Because remember, the max out of pockets for medical and drug are different. And so they might have no out of pocket anymore on the chemo, but they might have out of pocket on the pill chemo. And either one of them, again, the whole purpose of buying the extra coverage is make sure when you do hospital indemnity or cancer, et cetera, don't give them less coverage than they need because you're afraid of the price. Like, make sure it covers the whole and completely. The whole has to be covered completely. The link should be, let me just make sure. I have it up, so I'll just copy and paste it one more time, make sure. Let's see.
But yeah, cancer insurance, it's just sell it right there, bundle it in when you're going through the summary of benefits. That's the best way to do it. And then, I mean, if you work my OEP 90-day retention routine, you'll be selling a lot of cancer insurance there too. So, but we'll talk about that another day, because that's definitely worth money.
Yeah, we'll definitely do some more of this. I'd love to have you on like once a quarter or something. It's been a lot of fun. You're an endless fountain of knowledge. I always enjoy being around you. So I really appreciate it. We have about 3 minutes left. So I'll let you open it up because I trust you. Ask me any question you want to ask me.
Are you watching me from my garden? Like, have you looked at my garden? Like, I'm a little nervous now because you're talking about all these gardens. You're zooming in at Street View and judging people and how good they are with their garden. And I know you like gardens, and I like gardens, but I don't work on them probably nearly as hard. So I'm a little insecure now that you're zooming in on my garden.
I will if I have to, Tony. And not just that. You're looking for gardens. You're looking for kids' toys in the yard, a swing in the tree. You're looking for a red door. You're looking for any kind of indicator that you can suck yourself into the scene if you need to. And that's one of the keys, in my opinion, to especially if you're working nothing but over the phone, you got to figure out a way to suck yourself into that room. And what I mean to that is, in the beginning, if you're listening and you hear Barb Barker in the background or whoever, I don't even know how to host that show anymore, Drew Carey or whatever, if you hear Price is Right, then I would say, oh, I love that show. Do you watch it every day? And I would take them off on a different journey really quick, and they forget who the hell I am. When they go, wait a minute, who are you? And then you can go in. It's a lot different than trying to pitch and be a salesman and be pitchy.
Yep.
I'm always
interested,
for
not interesting.
Edge. Yeah. Interested, not interesting, and be interested. I think both. I want to be both. I'm tired of the or. I want to do and. I want to be interested and interesting at the same time. And you do that by connecting with people about things that they love and they're passionate with, right? And so, yeah, if you haven't learned anything else today, it is we are a resource. I know all three of us, and I'm comfortable saying this. Ask us a question anytime. Send us a text. Send us a message. Send us a friend request. We'd be happy to help you in any way, shape, or form we can. There are limitations to our time. And so if you're asking us to do a full AEP blueprint, I'm sure Tony's going to try to get your contracts, and I'm going to try to get you into my coaching program, that kind of thing. But that being said, we're looking for people to help. I really want to make this your best. If this is your first AEP, I want you to be able to look at everybody else and say, oh, I did 100 in my first AEP, because I did 140 part-time in my first AEP. Yeah. And when I first started telling people that and their jaws would drop and their eyes would open, I was like, well, that doesn't even seem like that much. What do you mean that's a lot? But I've learned that's actually pretty good, right? So thank you, guys. I really appreciate both your time, Tony. I can't thank you enough. I look forward to seeing you again at the next event. I won't, unfortunately, be able to make the Power Players next month. I've got too much stuff going on.
It's going to be a tough one right before AEP.
Right. Well, it's right in the same time, because I got in the top 100 with Humana. They're having an event in Tampa that I'm going to for that time period. So,
right on.
But yeah, everyone, I wish everyone out there the best AEP ever, whether you join the boot camp or not. I can promise you, if you do, you will have a better AEP. I guarantee it. But otherwise, thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Tune in next week, same time, same channel, and we're going to continue these through AEP. So I'm going to write applications while we're doing podcasts if I have to. I don't care. So have a great day, and we will see you next time.
See ya.